everyone, again you all are welcome to my database management system practical video series. Here this is the question set 24, and here in this video I have to answer these 4 sub questions, and here in this video also I am going to use this scenario that I have discussed in my 16th video, and all the database and the database tables I am using here for answering these questions, for writing queries for these 4 questions. So here I am going to open the SQL software. By using it I am going to write the queries for these questions. So then I am opening it. By entering my password, you can see this is the exam marks DB. This is the database I have created for that scenario, and you can see here these are the tables. First of all, this is the class table. You can see these are the data related to the class table. Here these are the 2 class names here included, and you can see here the next table, exam term table is. So then these are the details, these are the data I have entered to this table, and entering data, creating the database, creating the tables, all these things are included in my previous videos. So I request you all to watch my previous videos also if you haven't watched them already. So here in this next table, student table, you can see there are details of 8 students are included here in this student table, and also here in this student exam mark record table. This is the most important table in this exam marks DB. That means all the records about the examinations are recorded in this table, related to student index numbers, then subject IDs, exam term IDs, and these are the marks obtained by the students. So here among 4 columns, 3 out of 4 columns are the foreign keys in this table, and that is the specialty about this table also. And you can see the next table, subject table. Here in this table, these 3 are the subjects. Those are added by me here. First of all, mathematics, then science, Sinhala language and literature. So this is the brief description about the database and the tables, then the data I have entered to this. And so then I am going to write the answer for the first question. So I'm deleting this. So then I'm going to make a review. Here the first question, find out the details of the student who got the lowest marks in the subject of science in the second term examination in the class in which he is studying. So first of all, I have to find out the ID related to the subject of science. That means by finding out the subject ID related to the subject name, it may be easier to find out the minimum, that means the lowest mark, and it may be easier to find out the details of the student who got the lowest marks also. So I'm going to find out, first of all, I'm going to find out the subject ID related to this subject name science. So I'm going to write the query for that. I'm going to write it. First of all, I have to select from the subject table the subject ID. So I'm giving the table here as subject table. So then I have to give the condition also. That means the condition is subject name should be equal to science. Okay, so I'm executing this. You can see here it says the subject ID for the science subject is 2. Let's see whether it's correct or wrong. Here this science subject, the ID is 2, it's correct. So I'm commenting this because I'm going to put this query as a subquery in my next main query. So then next I have to find out the examination, that means the term ID related to this second term examination. So I'm going to write the next query for finding out the exam term, that means the term ID from the exam term table. From the exam term table, So I have to give the condition as exam term tables. Term name should be equal to your first term or the second term. The second term. So I have to give the term name as second term. So I'm executing this in order to get the ID. So it says that the term ID is also equal to 2. So I'm going to check whether it's correct or wrong. Here in this it says that for the second term its term ID is 2. Okay. So I'm going to comment this query as well. Then I have to find out the minimum mark from the student exam mark record table. So it says that we have to find out all the details and the class which is studying, the details of the student who got the lowest mark for the science subject in the second term. So I'm going to find out, first of all, select all. I'm going to select asterisk from student exam mark record table first of all. Then you can see all the details related to this, all the details included in this student exam mark record table are displayed here. And also I'm going to filter them by the subject ID and also the term ID here. So I'm going to give the conditions as where student exam mark record tables subject ID should be equal to, here I am going to use in order to in spite of using equal sign. So because here I am going to replace this query. By this query we can gain the ID related to this subject name science. So I am replacing this here in order to get the subject ID that is equal to this subject ID from the subject table. So I am executing this. You can see here this subject ID is filtered, only the details related to this subject ID 2 is displayed here. So then I am going to filter it also by using the term ID. So I am giving next condition as student exam mark record tables exam term, exam underscore term underscore term ID should be equal to, and here I am giving in clause also. So I am going to copy paste this here. We can gain the term ID related to the second term by this query. Then I am going to execute. As you can see here in this exam mark record table, all the details has been filtered by the subject ID and also by the term ID. Here both are 2. So from this table, from this result set, we have to find out the lowest mark. So I am going to replace this here. In spite of asterisk mark, I am going to find out the minimum from the student exam mark record tables mark column. So I am going to execute it. You can see the minimum mark is 45.52. So here in this question we have to find out the details of the student who got the lowest marks, not only the lowest mark. So I'm going to I have to join the class table and the student table in order to get the class name of the student also. So here I'm going to comment this also. Then I'm going to join the 2 tables by here. For the testing purpose, I am giving select asterisk from student table. I am going to inner join the class table. So here I have to give by this on clause what are the columns, the relationship between the columns of the student table and the class table. So here in this student tables class ID should be equal to class tables class ID. Okay, so I'm going to execute this. You can see these are all the details of the student and the class names of the students are displayed here. So okay, then I have to comment this also, and I'm going to find out the details. Here I'm going to uncomment this. So here I have to find out I'm executing this again also. So we have to find out this minimum mark, the student exam mark record tables. From the student exam mark record table, if we can find out the index number, if we can find out the student underscore index number from that table related to this minimum mark, so we can filter by that index number by using this inner join query. So I'm going to select student exam mark record tables student index number, where student exam mark record tables marks should be equal to. So I'm giving this query to within that bracket. So then I'm going to delete this and closing it by semicolon. So then I'm going to execute it. Okay, so here I haven't given the table name. So I'm giving table name. Then I'm executing it. You can see STU003 is the index number related to this student who got the lowest mark for the science subject in the second term. So then I am cutting this from here, and then I am uncommenting this. So then I have to find out, select all from student inner join class on student that class ID. So then I am going to give the condition here as where student tables index number should be equal to this query. So I'm pasting it here, then I'm deleting. So okay, I'm going to execute it. You can see these are all the details of the student who got the lowest mark for the science subject in the second term. So then I have to filter by the columns in order to remove these IDs. That means I have to make these results more meaningful. So I'm going to filter them by the columns. So then I have to find out student tables index number. So then the first name of the student, then last name of the student, and also the gender of the student, details of the student. So then contact number of the student. So then I am going to find out the class tables, class name of the student, in which class he is studying. Then this is the query I have written here. So I'm going to execute it. You can see the detail, the row of STU003 index number. This student is came here in this result set area in a more meaningful way. So this is the answer for the first sub question. Now I'm going to answer for the second question. It says that arrange the marks obtained by all the students for the science subject held on this date March 15 in ascending order. So first of all we have to find out all the marks of the student for the science subject held on this date. So then after that we have to arrange them in this ascending order. So I'm going to develop that query also. I'm deleting this. First of all I'm going to find out the ID from the subject table, the subject ID. Related to this science subject. Subject name is science. So if you can remember, it should be 2. Okay, so I'm going to comment this also. Then I have to find out the term ID from the exam term table related to that exam date. I'm going to find out it from the exam term table. Here I have to give the condition as exam term tables. Term date should be equal to, I'm copying it from the exam term table. Here this is March 15 is the date. I'm copying it. Then I'm pasting it here. Okay, so I'm executing it. You can see term ID is 1. So here term ID is 1 now for this first term. So okay, then I'm commenting this also, because I have to get all these queries as sub-queries in my main query. So then we have to find out all the marks from the student exam mark record table. So for that we have to inner join all the tables. I'm going to inner join. First of all, student table. Select all. I'm going to select asterisk first of all. Then we are going to filter them by the columns. So I'm going to select asterisk from student table. I'm going to inner join class table. Here this is the relationship between the student tables. Class ID should be equal to class tables class ID. Okay, so then I'm executing it. You can see all the details are coming here, and then I'm going to inner join the student exam mark record table also. Here I am giving the condition. Here the relationship between these columns, student's index number should be equal to student exam mark record tables student index number. So I'm executing it. You can see all the details are came here. Okay, so again I have to inner join the subject table also. Subject table on subject tables subject ID should be equal to student exam mark record tables subject ID. So in order to get all the subject details from the subject table, you can see all those data from the subject table are loaded here also. So I'm going to inner join the exam term table also here. Inner join exam term table on exam term tables. Term ID should be equal to student exam mark record tables exam term ID. So I'm executing it. You can see I have gained all the details from the exam term table also. Okay, so here we have to filter the details by using these conditions. So here we have to arrange the marks obtained by all the students who science subject held in this date. So I'm going to filter the details from these two conditions. Here I have created in here. So I'm going to give the conditions where student exam mark record tables subject ID should be equal to. So I'm giving this query. Subject ID related to the science subject is given here. Then I'm going to execute it. You can see the details has been filtered. Here only the subject ID is equal to 2. Only the details related to this subject ID 2 is came here. Then I am going to give the next condition as by using this AND keyword. So I am giving it as student exam mark record tables exam term ID should be equal to. Then I am giving this query. That means by this query, by executing this query, we can gain the exam term ID related to this exam date. So I am executing it. You can see all the details has been filtered. Here in this term ID is only 1. The details related to the term ID 1 are came here. So I am deleting these 2 queries. Okay. Then we have to find out the marks from the student exam mark record table. The marks we have to make in ascending order. The marks. So these are the marks. This 35, 75. These are the marks. So I have to gain only the marks. In this question it says that we have to arrange the marks, only the marks. So I'm going to filter by the marks. Here these are the marks. Then I have to arrange them in ascending order. So I'm using the keyword here order by. So we have to order them by the marks. Student exam mark record tables marks in ascending order. Okay, so I'm executing this. You can see all these marks has been viewed in this result set area by ascending order. Ascending order is the order that we can display them by the smallest one to largest one. So this is the way I have answered for the second sub question. And here in this third sub question it says that we have to find information of all the students who obtained marks between 40 and 80 in the mathematics subject of the examination held on this date, July 10th of July. So this is the normal way. This is also a normal query. We have answered such queries in a more meaningful way in my previous videos also. So okay, let's develop this query again. Then it says that we have to find out the information of all students obtain marks between. This is the unique, this is the keyword in this third sub question. We have to find out the marks between 40 and 80. Then in the mathematics subject, this examination held on this date. These are normal points, and this is the main point here we have to discuss in this third sub question. So okay, let's develop that. I'm deleting this. So in normal way, I'm going to give a search query for selecting subject table subject ID from the subject table that is related to the subject table's subject name is mathematics. So I'm copying it from the table itself. Here mathematics. Okay, I'm executing it. You can see. Okay, here from M is missed by me. Okay, so you can see here subject ID is 1 for the mathematics subject. So as in usual way, I'm commenting this query. Then I have to find out the term ID from the exam term table. Exam term table, we have to find out the term ID related to that exam date. Exam term tables, exam date, exam date. Okay. So here I am willing to copy that one also from the table, exam term table. This is the date, July 10th of July. So I am giving it here for the condition and I am executing it. You can see it says the term ID is 2. Here you can see the term ID is 2 for that date, that second term. So again is the task for making this query commented. Okay, so then I'm going to inner join all the tables. So here in this question it says that we have to find out the information of all students marks between 40 and 80 who has obtained. So I'm going to inner join all the tables. So in here I'm giving select asterisk from student table, inner join. Here I am giving only join here. Now in difference, a little bit difference, but the results it is same in here in this condition. So select all from student table join. I am going to join the class table here with the relationship of these columns. Student tables index number, class ID should be equal to the class tables, class ID. So I'm executing it. You can see the details has been came here. Then I'm going to join again the student exam mark record table by giving the relationship between these two columns here. Student exam mark record table, student index number should be equal to student tables index number. I'm executing this. You can see the details has been came to here in this result set area, and I'm going to join again the subject table by giving the relationships here. Subject table, subject ID should be equal to student exam mark record table, subject ID. Okay, then I can gain here for the result set area all the details from the subject table also. Then I have to join here the exam term table. That's the final table I have to join in by giving this conditions. Then the relationships between the columns of these two tables, exam term tables, term ID should be equal to student exam mark record tables, exam term ID. Okay, by executing it I can gain here all the details from the exam term table also. So we have to find out the details only for this mathematics subject and also only for this exam that is held on this date. So I'm going to filter them by using the queries here I have made. So I'm going to give the condition as where student exam mark record table subject ID should be equal to, here I am giving in as I am using subqueries here. So I am giving this first subquery within these brackets and I am going to execute it. You can see here from the subject ID 1 this data has been filtered. Then I am going to give the next condition here by using this AND clause. Here student exam mark record tables, exam term ID should be equal to this term ID. So I am giving this query within these brackets as the subquery. Then I am executing it. You can see here this exam term ID is uniquely to this number 2. That means all the details has been filtered by the subject ID and this term ID also. Okay, then we have to find out the details from the student table. Then we have to filter the details from this result set by using the marks also. That means we in this question it says that we have to find out the details of the all students who obtain marks between 40 and 80. So let's filter that also. Then I am giving the next condition as student exam mark record tables marks should be between, here in this keyword, between 40 and 80. Okay, so I'm going to execute it. You can see here the details has been filtered in order to get the marks between 40 and 80. So we have to find out only the details of the students who got the marks between 40 and 80. So we have to filter them by this column names in spite of using this asterisk mark. So I'm going to give it as student tables index number, then student tables, that means the first name of the student and also the last name of the student, and then also the gender of the student. Finally, the contact number of the student, and also we have to find out the class table, from the class table the class name, and from the subject table the subject name, and also from the student exam mark record table marks we have to find out. Okay, I'm going to execute this query. You can see it says that these are the details of the students who got the marks between 40 and 80. Here if you see these marks, you can see this marks has not been exceeded 80, and also these are not below 40. Then okay, this is the query and this is the way we have answered for this question. And okay, let's look on the last question of this question set 24. It says that we have to arrange the above result in descending order. Here it says that we have to arrange the above result in descending order. So I am going to use the same query. First of all, I am going to delete these queries. No need of keeping these two queries. So I am going to make these queries in descending order. So I have to give this keyword order by, then the column which we using to make this table, order in this descending order. So I'm going to give the column name. Use student exam mark record tables mark is the column we are going to use to make these results set in descending order. So I'm going to keep this DESC, this is the keyword. So I'm going to execute it. You can see the details has been made in descending order. Normally descending order is the order that we can order by some details, some results from the largest one to smallest one. So here this is the maximum mark. Here we can find 78.56, and this is the lowest mark we can find out from this result set 44.12. So you can see the details has been ordered in the descending order by using marks. And okay, this is how I have answered for the last question also. This is the end of my explanation for the question set 24. Then thank you for joining with me this video also. So let's meet in the next video soon.